All right, welcome everybody to yet another incredible NARPM podcast episode. This one is super special because we have Karen Jordan, Director of Growth at HBR Rentals in Tracy, California. So God bless Karen and the team over there that actually manage properties in California. Well, I don't know how y'all do that, but she leads the business development, owner relations, strategic initiatives. She's also president-elect of Cal NARPM, the state conference, right? Is that the
Yes,
state
yes.
chapter? And she's obviously an active member of Cal NARPM, and she also represents. She also presents at NARPM conferences on leadership, operations, and team development. And she's also a 49ers fan. We're not going to hold that against her. But
Hey.
Karen, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Pete. Thank you. Always fun to hang out with you.
Yeah, so Karen and we go way back. We've gotten lost together while walking at some conferences. And unfortunately for her, I was the one who was telling us which way to go. And so, yeah, got lost there. But Karen, I saw you present at the PM Systems Workflow Conference. And Paul Kikowski and Wolfgang Krosky's, conference in Vegas in January. And you were talking about property conditions reports. And I thought it was fascinating. And of course, I was asking tons of questions, and you called me a heckler. And I won't take that to I won't be too upset about that. But let's talk. So I thought, hey, Karen, this is great. More people need to know about property condition reports and how you're using them and leveraging them. So can you talk a little bit about the property condition reports and then how HBR uses them, how you implemented them, and maybe talk about like what the challenge was before and then what it solved for you and how it's working for you guys.
Super, super. So, yes, I absolutely love the Systems Conference. It's one of my favorite conferences to attend now, and sharing with our peers is amazing because it's such a small setting. And I love that you were there participating and asking me those questions, right? Because I think sometimes those questions people maybe don't feel comfortable asking out loud, but I love that because you and I are friends, you could do that, and I think it opened up the conversation and gave people kind of a more idea of what this really is about. So, first of all, let me put it out there. This I did not come up with this idea. Of course, like everything else in property management, we get best practices from other people, and this was brought to us as an idea from Peter Lohman. So Peter Lohman had shared that he had started doing this, and it just turned the light bulb on for us. We're like, yes. So this is something we started May of 2025. So not even we haven't even been doing it a year yet, and it has completely changed our processes. So originally, with most people, right, you get a phone call from an owner and they say, "Hi, I want a property management company." And in years before, I'd be like, "Yes, yes, let's do it," without really finding out a little bit more about the owner, about the property, and we would spend all of this upfront time getting to get starting to work with this owner. And then we would get to the point where they just didn't meet our criteria. They didn't want to do repairs. They don't have money. They weren't financially ready. They were still emotionally attached to the house. And we would spend all of this time cultivating them, using our resources, our vendors, getting estimates, doing all of that upfront work, and then it would turn into nothing. Um, and in one instance, it became almost like they thought that we were being sneaky. I think someone used the word. I feel like you deceived me, or you didn't disclose this up front. And for everybody that knows me, that's not who we are, and that's never what I want to present in our community. So that really felt uncomfortable. So when this idea came up of let's do a property condition report. So what does that mean? So when an owner calls us, we do a call with them, right? We just a discovery call with them. And it is myself and Rob, who's my BDM at our office. And we'll go through and ask them, what are they looking for? What services could we help them? But then, before we even move forward with getting into a management agreement or sending them our documents, we schedule what's called a property condition report. So after that introductory call, we tell them, first step, here's your Calendly link for you to schedule a time that's convenient for you. We're going to send our site inspector to the property, and we're going to do a thorough walkthrough of the house.
Let me pause you there real quick, Karen.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, when you decided to come up with the property condition report, did you also change, like, did you ask different questions to the owners to determine if they are going to be a good owner? Like, did you even change that a little bit as well to before you even do the property condition report? Like, no, Spidey sense is going off. Like, we're not even going to go this route, or you just you flow everybody to the property condition report.
We do. We started just really disclosing upfront what those rent ready standards are. What are we looking for our properties and why is that important to an owner? So giving them that education as to why that's important. The market right now is tough. There's a lot of inventory. So why would a prospective applicant apply to your house if it's not even ready? So giving them that education up front and having that discussion, and how do they respond to that right there? Oh no, my house is ready. I've lived in it 10 years and it's move-in ready. Not even wanting to engage or understand, we already know this is probably not going to be somebody we want to work with. So yes, we started changing more again, towards the education part of it, educating the owners as to why this is a benefit to them.
Did you start seeing less people move on to the next phase?
No, actually, they appreciate it. I think it clicked because I think they come in with a mentality, right? That this is easy. I can just put a house on the rent, you'll find me a tenant and move on. Not understanding that, oh, I have to do some work up front. Oh, I didn't know that. So I think the education part really helps them to understand, yes, this is, and again, a little bit about our market, lots of accidental landlords.
Like,
So that was to them, oh, this is a business now. I have to treat it as a business. So that education part really helps, I think, them understand why they want to move forward.
okay. So you kind of ask them the right questions. They're answering the right ways. Like, yep, we're going to move forward. So now the next step is we're going to go ahead and schedule a time. Are you meeting them out there? Please tell me no. Or
Myself? No, 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 no. They don't
no,
want Karen there.
yeah, no.
No,
I'm gonna
so I
say you
have.
are you guys meeting the owner out there though? Like,
It depends. It depends. So we have
okay.
owners who are like, I still live in the house, or hey, my tenant still lives in the house. I can schedule a time to coordinate access for you, or the house is vacant and I'll meet you there. So it really just depends on them. So we always give them all of those options. Of course, disclosing that, hey, if the house is still full of furniture, later on we may find other things, but we can absolutely do it while the home is still occupied.
Do you do the property condition report even if it's leased out already?
So we'll have owners who are self-managing, and now they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I got a tenant, they're moving out, and I want you to start the process after they move out. So if it's occupied with their current tenant that's in the process of moving out, that's where we'll start that.
And if there's no process of moving out, then you'll just not do the property condition report. You'll just take it over.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
let's talk. We've been saying property condition report over and over and over. So now you go there. What exactly is the property condition report?
So I have our site inspector who also is responsible for doing our move-ins and our move-outs. So he knows my process. He knows what we're looking for in our properties. So he'll go through the home. We utilize the inspector as the software tool where he's documenting everything with photos, and it'll be a thorough report. Again, he's not a licensed home inspector. He's not checking.
He's a team member.
He's
He's
a
a
team.
team
He's
member.
just, yeah. He's just looking for the cosmetic rent ready standards. Is the
And a shout
carpet?
out to Z Inspector and Tim in the group over there. They just put some training on the VPN platform, so you can now get
Hey,
certain Z Inspector VPN certified. So
love that plugin.
there you go. Plug it in. All right. So now you he knows because he's been there for a while, but as a team, you guys decided these are the rent ready kind of rules, right? Guidelines.
And those are published on our website. So even before they've picked up our phone, hopefully they've looked at some of these things.
Mhm.
We're very about this is another thing is transparency. The PCR, the property condition report, is about being transparent with the owner so they know upfront what's happening.
All right. So now you've obviously built Z Inspector to go there. And how long does it take on average? Let's call it a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage house. Your standard cookie cutter house.
45 hour and 15.
Okay. And then you have drive time, right? And you have drive time.
Drive time. But
So,
again, he's very thorough, and we've had comments because owners sometimes are there, right, and they're kind of following along, and we're opening cabinets and pulling out drawers, and wow, you do that? Yes, we do that because here's been instances where the drawers are not aligned. So even the owner can see during that inspection the detail of what we're looking for in the report. So it's very thorough. Again, not electrical. We're not checking plumbing. We're not doing those things. Again, we're just looking at what is going to be the right ready standards
now,
for us.
now that seems to be a heavy lift, right? You got to have a team member drive out there, do an hour and a half report or whatever it is. Um, there's a cost to that, and you
Hmm.
haven't even signed a PMA yet, right?
Nope,
So
nope.
how are you guys building this in? Are you billing back the owner on this? Are you like what does that look like? Or is this like part of like, hey, these are just marketing expenses? How do you guys handle that?
Yep. So again, during that discovery call, we go through the training or the education of the owner, and we tell them this is going to be a paid visit. You're going to pay for this report. It is a $300 cost. That is what we charge. And again, they get a full Z Inspector photos report
Mhm.
along with an estimate. So they get something. There's value we're providing to them. Um, and again, this is all paid upfront. So when they schedule that appointment through the Calendly, we've also hooked up with a Stripe account. So they pay right up front. So once we receive payment, we schedule the site visit.
All right, so you're letting them know, hey, we're not going to go out there until we get payment. Obviously, they can't pay through the Buildium Rapfolio because they're not a client yet. So that's why you had to set up the Stripe account. Which I mean, I'm sure you can set up Y Stripe or any kind of account.
PayPal, yeah, all of
Yeah.
that you could use. Yeah,
Easier than wire transfer, I would think. I'm guessing that's what you
absolutely.
started with. You probably started with wire transfer and like, oh, this is a mess.
I liked it because Stripe has a API with Calendly, so I can hook it up together so they can be easily integrated.
Oh, great insight. Great. Okay. So now you go out there, and you have a team member doing that. Um, what do you call your team member? Do you call them inspector or I used to call mine field technicians, but what
Site
do you
inspector.
site inspector? I like that
Mhm,
one. Okay.
mhm.
So how long has your site inspector been with you and how long did it take you to train that site inspector?
He's been with us a little over a year and a half, and training was very detailed. He had to do a lot of shadowing, so lots of following along. He participates in all of our weekly calls as well, so he's listening to the processes and kind of, oh, hey, this movement happened today, and we missed the window blind, something. So he's always constantly getting some training. So, but for him, um, I would say it was just a lot of shadowing and maybe 3, 5 visits he shadowed along with, and he got it.
In your opinion, does that person need to be like a licensed agent or do they have to be like a maintenance guy in the past or could it just be, a college kid that just
That's exactly who he is. Yeah.
okay.
And we just trained him on our expectations. He is not having conversations with the owners, right? He's not going to be like, oh, and hey, when
I'm
this
just a
house goes on the
report.
market, it's going to go for 33. He's not having that conversation. And when that conversation comes up, he directs them back to the team. He's like, I'm just here doing the report. And you questions, you could go back and ask Karen.
I just do documentation.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I
Mm-hmm.
do. Okay.
Yep.
So because you are charging $300 for a report, which you're selling the value of it. We'll talk about the estimation part of it there. When you were giving this presentation, my big comeback was like, well, are you now having less people move forward to try to give you to try to give you business? Like, are you losing potential deals?
No. But the ones that I am losing are probably people I don't want to work with. Because even though I've given them the education, I've explained to them, and they don't see that value, I don't think they're going to be a good fit for us. So even there, right there is my first screening of somebody who may not be a good fit for us. But
Right.
we have not
So
had
your
a
your
lot of
numbers haven't dipped since you
they have
implemented this. It's been a
they have
year,
not.
so that you're gaining the same amount of properties you did prior to this.
Yes. And the owners that have gone through this process and we've gone through the whole onboarding and they sign the management agreement, they're the quietest. They're
Oh,
the quietest ones.
yeah. So you get value on the back end. Um, so how many new properties a month are you guys looking to get?
Between 10 to 20.
Okay, that's still a pretty healthy amount.
Hmm.
And for that 10 to 20, do you need more than one inspector?
No, no, he can handle it.
Okay,
Again, his calendar is the one that's linked to that visit, so it coordinates with when he's available,
got it.
owner's availability and his availability. So
And
it fits pretty good on his schedule.
okay, so no challenges where he's not available for the next couple of weeks or anything like that because he's doing other move-ins and move-outs, right? So
Yep, and we are only on Monday through
Friday.
Thursday. Monday
Ooh,
through Thursday for him. So he gets off on Fridays. So the owners understand we don't do weekends. If you want a weekend, it's going to cost you a little more, but it's never been an issue. So Monday through Thursday, the owners schedule those visits.
what are some of the top things that you've seen? And now, who reviews the reports? Is it you? Is it the BDM, or is it go to a property manager? Because they're not a client yet. So who deals with the reviewing of the report?
So we have our project management team who this is all they do is the turns, getting the properties ready. So Jack, who is my husband, is the one who runs that side of the team. So he'll get the report from the inspector. He'll review it, look at the comments, the notes, the pictures, and based on just our standards, what are the pricing for this, he'll create the estimate. Our commitment to the owner is that they'll have that within 48 hours after the visit. So 48 hours, they'll have the Z inspector report and the estimate as to what is going to be needed up front to get started.
So on the estimate, does he have to reach out do you guys use third party maintenance or do you have internal maintenance?
We have third party. We only use third party.
Third party. So how do you get the third party maintenance guys to give you to get you a quote? Or does Jack know it so well now that he's able to give kind of a high level? Is it a high level quote? I'm guessing it's not line by line. It's not a line item quote, is it?
It's a line item, so it's
Oh,
line item by location. It's living room, bedroom,
got
bathroom,
it. Okay.
that way. But yes, because we've been doing this for so long with our irregular turns, that we have a standard of what the costs are for all of these things.
That's right there. I think that's the secret sauce. Having
Hmm.
someone like Jack who's been there, because if you don't, and I'm guessing, he knows what a mini blind goes for, or he could
Hmm.
just look on Home Depot. So he's doing some of that research. You guys using any AI to come up with the estimates, or does the
Nope.
inspector help with that at all? Because if you have to paint a room, how do you know how big the room is, so you can kind of determine how much the paint's going to cost?
We use the whole square footage of the house, so based on that,
Got it. So you
and
actually
then
have you have a formula, and the formula seems to work for the most part.
hmm
Hopefully,
and we're and a little more competitive because again, sometimes we'll get owners who'll be like, "Oh, I got a friend that could do it better than that," and then they come back and go, "Oh, never mind, you guys are good." So we try to
interesting.
keep it very competitive, and our vendors because they know that they get the business, they also keep those prices down for us.
Yeah. So you have some good. So you have to have. So to make this be successful, there's lots of moving parts here, right? So you have to have a good inspector, right? Inspection person
Hmm.
or a field tech person. You have to have your sales team be able to sell this concept of, hey, you're going to pay me $300 before we even take on management, right? Then you have to have
Hmm.
somebody that could be able to look at it, determine what all the challenges are, and then create an estimate. So you know, there's a lot of pieces to this. What are some of the things that has there ever been one you guys done a property inspection report and said nope, we're not taking this house? Like
Yeah.
even before you get into hey, the guy's like, I'm willing to put in the $30,000 to make this thing go, and anything that you just said, there's just no way we can't take it.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. I think it's been the opposite. For us, as long as they follow our guidelines, here's what we're going to need here. So the estimate is
So if
ten
they
thousand.
approve the estimate, you're good. Doesn't
Yeah, if
matter
they
if it's
approve. No, we
The
could do the
estimate could be
work.
knock down this POS and put a new house in. Okay, and then we'll take it, right? Like, yeah.
And that's again the first sign that they get it. They get it. They understand what the criterias are to be a business owner, to run a management or a rental income. They get it. So if that's they understand, it's the ones that push back. They're like, no, I don't want to spend 10,000. I think it's fine. Right there, we're just not going to do
So
that.
okay, so all right, so now who gives the so Jack in this case does the estimate. He gives it to you as the salesperson.
Gives it back to Rob and myself. Rob
Rob and
then
yourself.
follows up. Rob follows back up with the owner, says, "Here you go. Here's the estimate. Here are the next steps for us.
Okay.
You want to move forward. You approve this. You send us the funds. We'll start the management agreement from there."
All right.
So
So let's look at a
that's
couple of things. So number one is either yeah, I'm cool with the estimate. Are you getting funds for the estimate before you do any work? But
yes,
are you getting funds for the estimate after you sign a PMA though?
correct,
Okay.
correct.
So that's
Yes,
the easy one. No problem. I'm good. Now, the second one is hell no, I'm not doing any of this. That's an easy one too. We're not for you. And you just saved your team a whole bunch of headaches. And then there's a third one. It's like, well, I know you guys want to do all of that. I don't really have the cash to do all of it, but I can do like 75% of it. What do you do with those guys?
nope.
Or no,
It's
all
a
or
hard
nothing.
no. It's all or nothing. And we go back to the educating of the owner. This is why these things are on this estimate. This is why it's important. These are years of experience. We want to make your experience good, owner. We don't want a tenant to move in and start complaining because then it becomes early. So we just back to educating them as to why all of it's required.
So this may reduce the number of deals you get, but what it's doing is it's giving you all the right. We talk about not every client's a great client. You are literally weeding them out on the front end versus the back end. So let's
Mhm.
talk about the back end now. So okay, so you guys did all this. They paid the 300. They ended up signing a PMA. They do the $20,000 worth of work. Now you hand it off to your property manager, and you're saying that they're the quietest one. So talk about why this. Talk about the success. Like, how do you measure success on this stuff?
Again, back to how we were doing it before. So before, right, we would go through this process and it'd be a struggle, but I need you to send me $5,000. They don't send it, and we're following up and we're following up, and they finally do it 2 months later. And now they're complaining because it took so long to get the house on the market and you took forever. But it wasn't us, right? It was them. And it creates this already kind of a bad relationship from the beginning. And now we're kind of having to educate them as we're doing the process. That went away. Now they know upfront, very transparent. Here's what we expect, why we expect it, and here's a really smooth move in. On the back end, we're tracking how many work orders get opened after a tenant moves in. What was the resident satisfaction? What
And
was
that's
their
gone down to
experience?
almost nothing
And
now, right?
that's gone down.
Yeah.
So that's
So now
been
it's a
how
better experience for the resident moving in.
exactly because we were getting owners who were like, I just paid this much money and you're getting all of these work orders getting open. Why did you even bother doing all of these works? Well, because we weren't really educating them in the beginning as to why we did these things. And before we were like, sure, you could do this, but not this. We were doing that, Pete. And so now we're like all of it. So
And
yes,
I bet you your days on market have gone down with that
our
as
days
well,
on
right?
market have gone down as well. Yep. And those again, back to telling the owners, this is a hard market. You want your house to rent quickly, you want to get your time to income reduced. These are the things that are going to help you do that.
Best product, best price.
Hmm.
Yep.
So that I think, and again, this is all learning from before, right? Just trial and error. We kind of did this before. But the other piece, Pete, that I think for me is a huge is the peace of mind for my team.
Yeah.
My team
Stress
was
levels goes down, right?
they were struggling. And then I was getting a little upset. Like, why is this taking so long, you guys? Why hasn't this done? Why isn't this completed? And now they're good. They're like, it's done. We're moving through. Here's the process. And they're not as stressed trying to figure out like, oh, this owner won't call me back. Oh, the vendors are trying to figure out when they're going to get paid. All of that's kind of been reduced.
Yeah, and then like when in future when there is maintenance, you already have owners that are going to just send you the money, right? Because
Exactly.
that you built that trust. I'll put this in real dollars. Like when we were doing it, we did not do this at Empire, and I'm like, man, this would have made life so much easier. Um, we would, we would do it the old way, like you did, right? Like, hey, you want to do your own make ready? Fine, do it. Or you want to do only a partial make ready, whatever, right? And then the house doesn't get leased, and then there's, we used to take on utilities and the landscaping, and next thing you know, Empire's got this huge bill, and then Joe owner's like, you can't get this thing leased, I'm firing you, and then they leave us with a huge bill. Where you do it this way, um, you're they're putting all the money in. You're doing it right. I mean, now it's a soft market, and so it still may take you a couple months to get this thing down. But if any house is going in that area, it's going to be the one managed by Karen and team.
And that's again back to just educating them as to why this is important. The other piece of this piece that we didn't talk about is they say yes to all the things, right? Yes, they pay the $300. They do the required repairs. They sign the management agreement. And once they onboard with us, we credit them back $150 from that initial $300. So there's another value to them of we're serious if you want to work with us. And there's been instances, Pete, where they just pay us and go, bye, I don't want to do it. And we're like, cool. But we've given them something, right? We've given them a report. We've given them,
Right. Now they
but
can
they,
go to their handyman and or their, whoever, another management company, whatever, but you offer value there. So you give them back 150. So you give them 50% off if they sign a management agreement with you.
if they move forward with us.
But what you've really done here is you found a way to get paid in a way to weed out the owners that you want, right? Because we all
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. I mean, you go to any NARPM conference, ultimately, at some point, the conversation turns to, how do you get the right owners?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you talk about like, how do you interview them? Like, you don't like for you, it's not even like an interview. And like, I think that they, the way they answer these questions, I think they're a good fit. You're like, no, I know if they're a good fit. If they buy this $300 property condition report and they do everything that they say that's on it, I know they're going to be a good fit. And
Mm-hmm.
you're saying that the amount of noise that comes from these people, you're saying that you call them quiet. I think you said earlier, right?
Mm-hmm. They're
So,
quiet. They
so
get their first month statement. They understood because we've been giving them the updates. A work order comes in. They go, oh, okay. A light bulb went out in between moving. Okay, I get it. But all the big things were taken care of. They're not getting wondering why their work orders are getting blown up and the tenant just moved in.
on the big things, that triggered a question. Let's say the AC's working, but it's like 25 years old. Are you guys going and saying in your $300 deal, saying, "Hey, we need to replace this," or are you like, "Hey, this is when this goes, we're gonna have to replace it, and it's on its last legs," type stuff? Like, how do you handle like the big stuff?
So after they onboard with us as our project manager, there's an additional set of inspections that get done. They do preventative HVAC and they do preventative plumbing. And we do those upfront. And our vendor goes out there and does a full report and says, hey, this air conditioner is probably on its last leg. It's good, it's working, but I want you to be aware. So that we give that scope of work again to them so that they can be aware
Oh, got
and
it.
just preventative. And we actually, as part of our service going forward, we do those preventative HVACs in the spring and in the fall for them as well.
Is there a charge to the owner for those?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I get hit with the $300, and then the preventative stuff happens before the property is leased.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that's another call a couple $100 for those other preventive
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
now I know exactly my property is completely now documented.
Yep. And we again, if we get pushback from that, for the plumbing is a big one here. Residents will move in and they'll be like, my sink is clogged. And the owner's like, why didn't you check that? So it's little things that we learned ahead. So now we go through and everything's clear. All the drains are good. Everything's working. If a tenant calls later on, a month later, and they go, hey, it's clogged. Yeah, you probably
But
clogged
yeah,
because you,
now we know
now it's on you.
we
Now
could
it's
charge
on
the
you.
resident on
Yeah.
that
So
in
that's another way
instance.
of just kind of educating the owner that we're doing this up front so that we can protect you later on if a tenant opens a claim and says something's crazy with the plumbing.
So you got the right people in now as far as owners. You're able to lease the property quicker. Do you have any data on that? The days on market since you started doing this at all? Is there any?
Um, I don't have it in front of me, but I know that it got reduced.
And it has. Okay, so that's
Yeah,
good.
I
That
had that
reduced.
spreadsheet when we used
Um,
at the
and
systems
now,
conference.
what you know is going to be interesting over the next couple of years, Karen, is to see the length of stay if it increases,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah, because we're tracking that now. So our average length of tenancy is just a little over 3.5 years. So, and again, Meld came up with a really good report that correlates maintenance to lease renewals. So I think this will also show the owners the benefit of doing this upfront.
So when you do your condition reports, do you like put in like the age of the dishwasher or appliances or anything like that? Do you guys get that detailed?
We don't get the age, we get the
Model
make,
number.
models, so we can track that later on for maintenance.
Got it. Is that going to Z Inspector and then it gets API'd or gets put right into your property management software?
Yes, then it goes into Renvine.
Nice. I love that.
Hmm.
So you only have
Hmm.
to put it at one time, no double entry, anything like that. And then I'm guessing the Z Inspector report is synced with Renvine as well. So so I don't have to log into Z Inspector, I could just log into Renvine and then I can see the reports there.
Yes, and because they're not owners at the time that they're not in our POS yet. Once they become owner, it gets synced
Yeah,
automatically.
automatically.
Hmm.
Very nice. Is there anything that we did not touch on that we should talk about as far as this process?
I think one of the questions that came up during the presentation was the the fear of presenting this to an owner. Because if you're in a market that nobody else is doing this in, right? And someone asked, what if my competitor doesn't do this and I'm charging, but they're not, and they're going to go with them? Again, you're getting owners who may, in our, especially look at our market, who may not know. They just don't know property management. So you're giving them this information. This is the standard. They're not shopping around to say, oh, do you do this? Do you do this? So for us, it wasn't even a factor of whether anybody else in the market was doing it or not. These are the clients we wanted. We want to educate them to that process. And again, our no's have been very minimal, Pete, very minimal. And again, the no's that have said no,
Yeah.
probably not a good fit.
They basically exited themselves out of the process. I can
Hmm.
see why this would be an incredible benefit to your operations team. How did you get your BDM to say, yeah, because to them they want the yes, right? So those no's that save the team, the operations team, that cost the BDM potentially some commissions there.
The BDM is the one who came up with this.
No
Like,
way.
he's like, spinning their wheels with owners that just weren't a good fit, and it just kind of going back and forth and back and forth and following up with them. And this kind of cleared, these are the people I want to work with. These are the people I want our team to also support. So it was it was an idea that everybody embraced.
I love it.
Hmm.
Well, Karen, I thank you so much for being here. If somebody had some questions that I couldn't ask, Question Boy here didn't think of, and they wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way to connect with you?
My email, Karen at hbrrentals.com.
And if you need some remote team members to review those reports or schedule your team out there, go to vpmsolutions.com or email me Pete at vpmsolutions.com. And if you are listening to this and you are not a NARPM member, shame on you. Join NARPM, narpm.org, O-R-G, narpm.org, 800-782-3452. Karen, thanks so much for being here. See you, everybody.